Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team fucking here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now my whole started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team fucking here. I done kept it real from the jump. I done kept it real from the jump. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team fucking here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team fucking here. Started from the bottom, now we. I done kept it real from the. I done kept it real from the jump. Living at my mama house, we'd argue every month, nigga. I done kept it real from the jump. Living at my mama house, we'd argue every month, nigga. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team fucking here. I done kept it real from the jump. I done kept it real. I done kept it real from the jump.
Yeah. This is for all you non-philosophizing black sheep, unwelcome, pushed to the side motherfuckers like me.
Fuck what they say. Tang gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah. Fuck what they say. Tang gang, Atheist Your Way. Ha ha ha. Let's get down to business. These bitches got glitches. And you thought you'd dismiss us? Nah. Now I'm laughing in stitches. See, the problem be, it'll be a tragic travesty to come after me. So just know this is how we get down. Respect that shit like a pronoun, bitch. Yeah, fuck what they say. Tang gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah, and fuck what they say. Tang gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah, fuck what they say. Tang gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah, fuck what they say. Tang gang, Atheist Your Way.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of What's Your Story? Your boy Oz in the building. And I've been looking forward to this one. I'm excited, so I'm not going to use up too much time here, but just a couple shows coming up that, of course, I don't have it on here because I switched scenes, but on the 16th, we have Drew Genetically Modified Skeptic coming on. But before that happens, today's Monday, so Wednesday night, we have the next edition of Becoming Comfortable with the Uncomfortable, and we're going to be focusing on authenticity. What's that mean to us? You know, how do we view that individually? And then why is that important, you know, amongst friends, relationships, things like that? Why is that important? Why is that or why even should that be foundational? You know, the importance of being authentic. And that's all share for now, but real quick, what's up everybody in the chat? And Shane Bilowitz, if Shane Bilowitz has one more sassy comment, if one of the mods will please just time him out. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. But what's up, everybody? Good to see you, Shane, as always. And Kathy, Jena, Paul's in the house. John Christian's in the house. And I'm sure I'm missing some because I can't scroll all the way through right now. But thanks for hanging out with us. Missed y'all. It's good to be back. Been busy. But I came in my Sunday best just for Aaron. I came in my Sunday best just for Aaron. Biddy Buddha in the house. No, I'm actually wearing black Puma shorts. Since you want to know. Hold on, where'd that other comic go? Damn it. Oh, there it is. Just brush that right off the shoulder. What up? What up? Thanks for chilling. Thanks for hanging out. Let's get down to business. So we'll get the proceeding this evening, and I will introduce our friend Witten. Was a huge help at the Better Conference and was the what do they call it? Johnny on the spot. Anytime we needed something, jumped in. He and several others, but was one of them. Anytime something was needed or something needed to get done, he was right there, and we appreciate him being part of the Tang gang hood, so to speak. But everybody, let's welcome. Hey, Ron, what's up, man?
How's it going? Good.
Chilling. How you been feeling this week or this weekend?
Good.
I guess it's Monday. See, my weeks get all fucked up because it's kind of ass backwards everybody else's, but no, good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Yeah, I need to make sure my music's queued up here because I had to restart my machine, and I don't want to make the same fuck up I did the other day. But no, I know it was shortly after Better that I know Jena got this set up and scheduled, and her and I have talked about it. I know you guys have talked about it, and big excited to be there. Obviously, you have your as the Christians would call it, you've had your journey.
Yes,
you've had your journey, and there's been the part before any of us met you, and you met any of us, and I'll give a little teaser. There's some shit that went down at Better that we'll get to later. That I think, or I'm pretty confident when I say might have knocked some people off the rails.
Yeah.
Or probably would have, and not Aaron. Aaron keeps on trucking, man. He keeps on moving. I'm proud of you, man, and I'm excited to do this. So, as everybody knows, if this is your first time now live or later watching this, I only come in with one pre-planned question ever, which we'll get to in a second. The rest is organic, and we just kind of let the interview / conversation go where it may go. So, Aaron, you've watched enough of these, but for everybody that hasn't, just start off with this. Tell me, give us a snapshot. What did life look like for Lil Aaron?
So, growing up, I was always in the church, and it's like my earliest memory. One of the games I played when I was probably 3 or 4 was preaching. I love to mimic what I'd seen on Sunday. So it's my earliest memories are church. My dad was a youth pastor when I was really young, and he moved to pastor when I was growing up. But my entire world revolved around church.
Sorry, I have 2 mute buttons and I kept hitting the wrong one. So the word indoctrination probably is something you've spent some time researching.
Yeah, and that's completely indoctrinated from a very young age. And I grew up in the Church of God, and then we switched to Pentecostal holiness when I was around 12. So not just indoctrination. Lots of hellfire, lots of shame, guilt, you name it.
And I because obviously you and I, different different versions of Christianity, but Christianity nonetheless.
Yeah.
This is one thing that I've been thinking about lately is do I actually remember, like real life, do I actually remember ever choosing to believe, which most people say you don't, right? Or do I really remember the first time that I thought, okay, this is real to me? And my answer to both of those is no. I don't. I don't. It was catered to me. It was force fed to me, and that was my experience. If I were to ask you those questions, what would your response be to that?
Yeah, I can never remember choosing to believe. That's just what the world was. That's how it worked. There was really no alternative because I was in a very small bubble. Not really any friends from school, only friends from church. So it was very small. My worldview was very small, and there was no choice. It's just what was expected. And I think probably when I think I probably did choose to believe kind of early, but it was more so I'm just, I'm not going to buck the system. This is what we do, so I'll do it too.
And then not to go down this road, because it is one of my favorite conversations to have with acting or active theists, because whether that's a thought that is initiated by a parent or parents or leaders in church, or by that ancient text they call the Bible, I find it very difficult to ever subscribe to this free will notion, because whether it's from being directed from the text, or whether it's from mom and dad or pastor, youth pastor, whatever, it still continues to be a glaring and ugly ultimatum, where it is if we look at it through the lenses of theology or doctrine, it's still my way or the highway. Or when it comes to parents, it's still my way or the highway. What are your opinions, or what's your view on the whole free will thing, especially for those of us that were indoctrinated?
Well, yeah, for there to be free will, you have to have a choice, and there was never a choice for me. I never had a choice. That's what we were doing, and reinforced with a lot of physical abuse growing up, because that's just the way it is. You beat your kid if you love them, and that's what my house was. And so that was the thought in church that we attended. And so reinforcing that from a very young age, it was, there's no free will. It's just, I'm going to do this and try to get beat as little as I can.
Boy, can I relate to that. So it was, there was a very prominent scripture in our home, for my brother and I growing up, and I have no problem saying more so for me being the oldest, I was usually the punching bag.
Yeah.
Both literally and figuratively, but the cornerstone scripture for my mom and dad was "Spare the rod, spoil the child."
Yep.
And they used that as a justification, because then if it's that, it's no longer abuse.
Right.
It's rearing your children and raising your children according to what the scripture says. Was that that scripture, another scripture maybe similar to that, used to justify those kind of things for you?
The very same one. And it's so, well, led to so many problems later on in life, but the idea that, because I was being told, every time, I'm doing this because I love you.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm beating you because I love you. So every time I'm being told this, and so it completely screws me up later in life. But I've, just equating that abuse with love has taken so long to get over.
Yeah, I hear you, bro. I hear you. And yeah, I'll dig in more on that later. It's fascinating to me now, being as indoctrinated as I was, being as indoctrinated as you were. It is fascinating to me now to look back at all the things that I justified.
Yeah.
And the views that I justified, the things that I allowed to come out of my mouth that I justified via that text, via the theology, via the doctrine, that now I look back at and I understand was very, very hurtful, very, very problematic, very, very toxic. And now I think and this is my lead up to the question that was asked. I feel like it's impossible. I feel like it's impossible for me to ever buy into that again, to ever see myself or find myself aligning with something so abusive and so manipulative and so deceptive. But I would be a liar if I sat here and said I've not had those thoughts, especially in some of the darkest times and some of the most depressing times. And is this because I don't have that anymore?
Yeah. Right.
But then once rationale kicks back in, logic kicks back in, it's like a huge source of my abuse and trauma was either directly from or disguised by that book, that doctrine, that theology. Do you ever have similar thought processes or questions?
Well, probably about 2 years ago was the last time. Well, no, 3 years ago was the last time I entertained, thoughts like that, and just coming to the realization that almost all of the abuse and the trauma that I endured comes from that book and the theology that men have built around it. And so that I have a pretty great disdain for it now, and coming to understand and realize through therapy and recovering from religion. They have a lot of great articles realizing how manipulative and how everything that I'm against, that's this book and that kind of theology is perpetuating. And so, yeah, and that's why I say I'm anti-theist, because I can track down the pain and the hurt and the abuse that I experienced. I can track that all back to that book, the Bible.
Yeah, and sadly, now all my Christian friends would say that it was the Holy Ghost trying to convict me. But literally, when you say that, I get chills, I get goosebumps, because that was your life, that was your experience, that was my life, that was my experience, and so many others, and so many others, and some that don't even know how to get out. They don't even know where to start. And
they're perpetuating it.
Yes. While trying to figure out where do I even go, and I hope they do. And I would say for those that that you're in that spot. You again, being transparent and just being 100, there's going to be a point that you have to cross that bridge again, but from the other side. And it hits you like a ton of bricks, man. It hits you like a ton of bricks, where it's like, God damn, man, I fucked, and I'm speaking for me right now, I fucked a lot of people up.
Yeah.
I thought I was doing right. My intentions was never to hurt anyone.
Yes.
Ever. But now in hindsight, the shit that came out of my mouth, the one that will probably haunt me the rest of my life is anytime, especially when we had our hip hop group, the constant dangling of heaven and hell.
Yeah.
And I know why I did it. I did that because that's what was dangled over me. And I was just repeating, repeating what I've been taught and what I'd heard. And I remember when that part finally hit me, and as many of the, especially there was a Bible camp that myself and the rest of our group, we oversaw the creative, like, breakout sessions, like, for music and art and things like that. And I remember when it all hit me, and I felt the weight of that, like, literally on my chest, where I was like, fuck, man, fuck. And I went, and every single one of them that I had still had connections with on social media, or I could find that I could remember names, I literally went and sent them private messages and apologized. And I was like, even if you still believe that, I'm not trying to take that away from you. I just feel like I have to operate in my own, first of all, being intellectually honest and communicating, but also just operating within my own standards of integrity and character and honesty. And I no longer believe that what I told you is true. And I feel that I owe it to you to say that, because I don't want you to find it out after the fact and still think, well, but I remember that Oz guy told me. You know what I mean? Those things that when you're, especially you're a teenager, you have those kind of experiences, a concert or a camp or whatever, that you cling to those things. And I felt horrible. And I tried to go out of my way to cover as much as that territory as I could to hopefully help other people either heal or maybe start to ask questions. So reason I say all that is that where you sit now, are there things similar to that where you look back and you're like, I hate the word regret, but is there anything that you look back at now and you're like, fuck, I wish I would have known better, as far as how you dealt with people?
Yeah. Well, so after high school, I went to Morning Star School of Ministry. And Morning Star is not denominational, but they're really into the prophetic words, giving people prophetic words. And so I was really attracted to that, really attracted to the idea of, oh, God can speak to me to speak to someone else. And it's just that idea that, I could be used by God and his words can come out of my mouth. And so after that, during that time at the ministry school and after, I've given thousands of prophetic words to people. And the manipulation that occurs when you're doing that, when you're speaking to someone, telling them what God is saying about them, it's my biggest regret, because I know how now I can see and understand how manipulative that is, because it's almost always someone who's in a desperate place.
Absolutely.
And so you're giving this false hope. At best, it's false hope. At worst, it's keeping them in a cycle of abuse and mistreatment that they should rightfully leave. But yeah, that's my biggest regret. thousands, and there's no way to fix that. I just have to acknowledge it and say, I'm really glad I'm not doing that anymore. I'm really glad I'm not spreading manipulation and guilt and shame and all those, and false hope, all those things. Now the best I can do is say, tell people who I meet, who I encounter, yeah, I don't believe that, and I don't think you have a good reason to believe it either, and develop, open up conversations that way. But yeah, it does bother me. It haunts me, the amount of people, and I could think of countless examples of people who were ready to walk away from church, and then I suddenly had a prophetic word, and kept them in.
And it does, and we can do the best we, like you said, through. And I'm, by the way, I want to point it out because Aaron mentioned it earlier as far as going through therapy and processing these things, and I'm proud of you for doing that. And I want to make sure that that's pointed out, because that's huge.
Yep,
that's fucking huge. And if you're just now, you know what, I'm not even gonna build categories. I don't even if life is peachy and fancy and is awesome, I'm still excuse me, I'm still one that says that we all need to have therapy. We all still need to talk, because none of us live a perfect life. None of us live a flawless life, and there's always something that we can do to be better and be better versions of ourselves. So I'm proud of you, man, and that I'm glad that you have that place to go and that person to talk to. That's fucking phenomenal. And I hope anyone and everyone would do that. But as far as the haunting, unfortunately, there's not. I can't think of a better word for it, because it does do that. And one of the things when I, and it's less and less and fewer times now that I do, but when those thoughts do arise, those memories arise, there's one concert that we did that still breaks my heart to today. Still breaks my fucking heart. I would say it was probably the second or third largest audience that we performed in front of, and there was a shitload of people there. And I was like, man, and we're like in downtown, I think it was Cincinnati. We're like downtown Cincinnati. We're in the hood, and it's packed. It's fucking packed. And I'm like, man, the harvest is here, man. The harvest is plentiful and the workers are few, and I'm here. I'm here. And this is the harvest. And the shit that I said that night, now when I look back, is the same shit that fucked me up.
Yeah.
If you leave this concert tonight and God forbid you and your friends or your family members, you get in a car accident and everyone dies, do you know where you go tonight? Are you going to heaven? Are you going to enjoy eternity with God? Or are you going to go to hell, where you're going to wish that you would have listened tonight? That one, and I shared similar, like, quote unquote, altar calls or whatever to that, but that one always sticks out, and still to this day, like you said, haunts me or even hurts me or breaks my heart, because the amount of hands that just and next thing you know, the front area, which was like where everybody, when the music was going, hands are up, we're jamming, but now that whole section is filled with people that are crying and weeping and sobbing, because I just told them if they die tonight, they're going to hell.
Yep.
And the reason I share that is to incorporate it to what you said, and I will say I'm like, if not 100%, 99.9% sure that my current and final position is that as an anti-theist. I think religion as a whole, not just Christianity, but religion as a whole, does poison everything, just like the late great Christopher Hitchens said, R.I.P. So before I get into more current day things and the life of Aaron, what are your thoughts now on, well, let's start with that statement. Religion poisons everything. What are your thoughts on that? And then before we kind of turn the corner and come a little more current day, what do we do, man? As former indoctrinated Christians, in your opinion, in your lights, what the fuck do we do, man? How do we make an impact?
Well, for me, it's doing things like this, and engaging in conversations, because my natural tendency is to avoid conflict. And so engaging in those uncomfortable conversations, not only does it help me become more solidified in my position, it also is what helped me make it through. So like, watching conversations like this one, that you had with other people, it's one of the things that got me to a place where I can be, open to discussing very complicated and very, for me, emotionally charged subject with people, to try to help them understand, where I used to, be perpetuating the negativity and the all the abuse that's associated with Christianity. Now, at the very least, I can have a conversation and say, it doesn't have to be this way. Mm-hmm. And, I've been exactly, if I'm talking to a theist or Christian, I've been exactly where they are. And there's so much doubt involved all the time. And so maybe one interaction or one conversation, because I know for me, especially with Thing Gang, you never really know the impact. You never really know, even if you think it's wasted time, you never really know what kind of impact you can have.
Absolutely. That was a great segue. So before we do this, we'll a little drink music. We'll say what's up to everybody in the chat, and then that was a great segue. So we'll kind of go from there. But everybody, take a drink. Take a drink, though. I just like that one.
Yeah.
I like the sound effects. But what's up, everybody in the chat that's joined since the beginning? Native Atheist. And then we have, what's up? Then we have Titan Your Anus is in the building. Carlita. And I say it like that because Jena always laughs and giggles when I say that. Cat the Humanist. What's up? Haleigh. I hope I'm saying that right. Thanks for hanging out. That Mad Facts with Pat guy. What the fuck is going on? Is Oz trying to steal Nick's $400 jacket gimmick? Don't do it, Oz. Don't do it. It done got done did. Patrick. No, but thanks everybody for hanging out, and I'll be the good YouTuber right now. Make sure you smash the like and subscribe button and leave a comment, because that helps the algorithms and shit. I don't know if I'm supposed to say it like that, but and shit. But no, Aaron, as we I guess I kind of shift now, moving into more current, at least recent history for you.
Yep.
Before we get to you jumping into Discords or YouTube channels or anything like that, it would be really dumb for me to not ask this question, because it's what's going to tie everything together. Being indoctrinated and being force fed, a lot of the same ideas, even though it's different branches or types of Christianity.
Yeah, very similar,
but the same ideas.
Yeah.
What was it that maybe put the first? I always like to say the first crack in the wall of faith. Maybe caused that first crack, but then ultimately, where did it really begin to crumble and fall apart to where Aaron got to the place where it's like, I don't know if I have a good reason to believe this anymore. What did that look like for you?
So I guess the first crack for me was when I got divorced for the first time. And the church we were attending, I was the director of the prophetic ministry, super involved, traveled around teaching the prophetic and with the pastor, and super involved. And then when my ex-wife decided she didn't want to be married anymore, somebody had to be at fault, because there was no just, in actuality, we weren't suited to be married. It was just a relationship that we should have just dated. We should have just dated, but when she wanted out, so she was very close with all the pastors' wives and whatever, and so they chose her. They bought her stories and her tales, and so they dropped me like a brick, and everyone, my entire world, in an instant was gone. And so that led to 6 or 7 years of just hell for me. And then, and so that was probably the first crack that, hey, all this love and all this forgiveness and all this everything that they're talking about, that shit goes out the window if you don't fit the mold anymore. You don't fit the picture of what you're supposed to be.
And fuck it. See, that's what I love about the What's Your Story brand or series, whatever the fuck anybody wants to call it. I don't care, but because you learn more about people, and other people get to learn more about you that maybe you had an idea of, but didn't have a full scope.
Yeah.
And again, that's something else that you and I have that are it's obviously not cookie cutter, but very, very eerily similar.
Yeah.
Because my first divorce, it was the same shit. It was that was probably, other than me losing my mom, that was probably the most fucked up, confusing period of my life ever.
Yep.
Ever. Because not only did I in that moment was I losing my family and my home, and like I walked away from that marriage with nothing but my clothes and my vehicle.
Yeah.
And like that was already fucked.
Yeah.
And especially, I won't go through the details because this isn't about me. I'm relating to then build up to a question, but it's that was fucked up enough.
Yeah.
But then through that exact same process or that same time frame, I'm also finding out that this God character that I was told was when I needed him the most, that
Yep.
he would show up. That, you know, I don't know if this is a popular statement in your church, but it sure the fuck was ours. God is never late. He's always on time.
Yep.
And I always follow that up now with, well, then he's the equivalent of a deadbeat dad because he never shows the fuck up.
Yep.
It's not even that he's late. He never shows the fuck up. So
Right.
here I am. I at that point had a very, very, very lucrative, successful career. I had anything and everything I wanted. I lost all of it. Then at the same time, I'm
Yep.
losing grips on this whole God thing, and I'm like, all right, God, if you're real, like you like, now's when you show up, bro. Now is when you show the fuck up. But just like I think you're gonna have a similar answer, which I'll finally ask my question now. It was in those moments where it was like I was leaning to the, okay, this faith thing is bullshit, man. But I've believed this for so long, I have to give it a chance. I have to give this God dude a chance. But then still walked away empty-handed every fucking time that I tried to lean on this God dude, which what it sounds like what was kind of the catalyst or the breaking point for you, as it was for me, was like, no, I don't have a good reason for this anymore. I don't have a good reason to cling to this thing that continues to disappoint me over and over and over again. So based on what you shared with, again, the indoctrination and a marriage, divorce, and then finding out that, okay, these people that I thought were my friends are not my friends, right? Because I went through the same thing. Those are all I call them relationships of convenience, because just like you were the prophetic ministry, I oversaw all of I oversaw all of the small groups in our church. I was the drummer.
Yep.
I helped with the youth group. It was like, all of a sudden, Aaron, this is going to shock your system. It's going to blow you away. As soon as I didn't believe anymore, it wasn't so convenient. It was not so convenient anymore. So please, anything that you relate to there, please share. But what impact did that make on you? Is not only did you lose the community, like with your family and friends, but realizing that you may have been lied to your entire life.
Yeah. So when I went through my divorce, there was so much shame because I had this idea that if I did my best to follow God, then He would take care of me. And so because I knew what kind of effect it would have on me, I tried everything I could to avoid it. And then and it wasn't that I was upset, because I knew the marriage should be over. But it was such hurt and disappointment. Like, I've devoted everything to God. I have sacrificed my time, my money, everything. And not only did He let my marriage fall apart, he let me get into a marriage He knew was going to fall apart. So I must have been really bad or sinful or evil for Him to allow this to happen. And so for me, it took a very long time. I walked away from church for, like I said, about 7 years, and then really and I had undiagnosed mental health issues at this time. Started drinking really heavily, like I'm talking a fifth of bourbon a night. Working my way up to a handle a night. So I just really hurt and trying to, self-medicate.
Medicating. Yep.
And yeah, it's just, for me, the biggest thing that I can remember out of that was such disappointment and hurt because I had given everything. And because my marriage didn't work, now I was just thrown away like a piece of garbage.
Yeah, I can dig it, bro. I can dig it. And I always try to find the silver linings in things because I know for me, my mental makeup, if I focus on the what ifs too long, I have the tendency to go dark.
Yeah.
If I just wonder about, well, what if we, well, the what ifs don't fucking matter.
Yep.
They don't fucking matter. Right. What matters is this is where we're at. And what can I take away from this situation, this experience, this relationship, whatever it is, and apply it to me being better tomorrow. That's all I can do.
Yeah.
Right. That's all I can do. And Aaron, I love and respect you because, well, for many reasons, but one of them is you've been able to do that. And I want to say this and highlight this, that I'm proud of you because that's not easy.
Yeah.
That's not
so
easy.
hard.
That's not easy. It's very difficult and a very long process to be able to do what you're doing, and not only do it, but to do it and you still have a smile on your face, Aaron. You still wear a smile, and it's an authentic smile. It's not a bullshit, cheap candy wrapper smile. And that doesn't mean you don't have difficult days.
Sure.
But that what it does show and project and demonstrate is that even on the difficult days or the off days or whatever, that you're still pursuing the most authentic version of Aaron that you know how to do, humanly possible. And that's badass, bro. That's fucking badass. And I love you and appreciate you and respect you for that, because that's hella hard work. That's hella hard work to do that and get there. And what up, Nitty? What up, David? Sorry, a couple new people jumped in, but I want to keep that line of I guess intensity there, because I think that this is important. So the wall of faith takes its cracks, then it starts to crumble, and then falls apart, right? And then I'll let you tell the story, because it's better that it comes from you, because I'm interviewing you. This is not my story, but I'm always eager to talk about it because I know how much it has meant to me, and I'm not going to get in my feels right now, not yet anyway. But Aaron started a process of going through, YouTube, social media, Discord, of trying to, find, investigate, find answers and other, but I and you correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron, but along with that, doing what I think most former Christians do is trying to find where we belong.
Yep.
And where we feel that we matter, and where we feel like like the old hip hop song, so you get in where you fit in, right? And if I remember right, you had shared with me, it was like right around a year or better, that you were just kind of lurking and listening, and I'll cut it off there. You take it from there. But there was like a year or so after that, and then you've kind of found a spot or two, but you found a spot or two where you finally felt comfortable enough and confident enough to start engaging and communicating, and you take it from there.
Yeah, so around 2 years ago, I had a medical condition. I developed sepsis, and I literally lost my mind. I didn't know who I was, hospitalized for weeks. When I got out, I had the cognition basically of a 6-year-old. So it's taken a very long time just to get my mental acuity back to anywhere that I felt comfortable with engaging with people. And so for about a year, I was looking for, because it was during that time that I completely walked away and just said, I'm not a believer anymore. I realized and I understood that, there was no going back. So I was looking, and there was never a place, I looked for a long time trying to find a place that I felt comfortable, that I felt like the people were being authentic, that they weren't trying to sell me something. And the internet's a big place, so I searched and searched, and then I found Tang. And it's I probably hard to describe, but I just knew, it's my kind of people. This is my kind of people. But I was still nervous because because of the experience I had with, being thrown away. I didn't want to experience that again. I wanted to make sure I was, I think this is my kind of people, but I want to make sure. I want to make sure this is not, some bullshit, just, parading with a good facade. I wanted to make sure, and just watching you just being so open and vulnerable and honest, it made me realize, yeah, this is my kind of people.
And that I hate to say that's music to my ears, because that sounds like there's like some artistry behind this, because there's not. It's just us, me, us, all of us being authentic. But it does mean the fucking world, the fucking goddamn world to me, to hear that from you and others. And I often think about you and Sam, his screen name when we very first started our YouTube channel, Samuel Doolittle. You guys have so much in common, and it's those stories that I try to remind myself of on the days or nights or even weeks that I'm like, well, why the fuck am I doing this? Which I can't say since better has been fewer and fewer. But that's awesome, man. That's awesome. And I'm grateful that we've been able to, and we've been able to develop this place that is a soft place for people to land. And it's not combative, and it's not toxic, and it's not like just shoving shit down people's throat and telling them to eat it and taste it whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I can go on and get my feels and go on about that. But the one thing I want to bring up, because and just for everybody in the chat now or watches this later, Aaron and I have talked about this. He's given me permission, even before the stream, to talk about this and share this. And if I'm gonna get my feels, it'll probably be now, because I think there's no, I don't think, I know that there's a huge part of this that we definitely share. If there's other things that are similar, let it be what it is. But this one I know we 100% share. And there was a particular night in our Discord after one of the shows, and it was after all the bullshit that happened last March. And I just felt I was and Aaron's there, he knows. I was at a point where it was like, I don't even know if I want to do this shit anymore. Like if this is what I get, if this is what I get for just being me and being honest and trying to be the best skeptic that I know how to be, I'm not signing up for this shit, bro. I'm not signing up for this. And Bryce is right. He had some amazing things to say that night as well. But Aaron and Jena will confirm this because I said it then, and I said it I don't know how many times after that conversation. Aaron, like it was a slap in the face and a gut punch, all in a good way, all at the same time. Because he jumped in and he said, Oz, I don't want you or Tang to stop. I need you guys to keep going. I need you to keep going, because there were moments where, and trigger warning for those in particular, like conversations about suicide, self-harm, anything like that. That's what's coming up next. But if it wasn't for this community that I spent over a year trying to find that place to be in, that place to land, I don't know if I would still be here if it wasn't for this, and if it wasn't for this group of people. And that still stands out in my mind as one of my pivotal moments where it's like, no, yes, all this other shit sucks. All this other shit it's bullshit, and I shouldn't have to deal with it. But I will deal with it if it means I get to meet more people like Aaron, and I get to help more people like Aaron. So that's my perspective on that, being the one listening to that and hearing that. But Aaron, anything I missed or you want to add to that, I want you to have the platform to do that, because I know how much that meant to me and to Jena.
Yeah. So after walking away from religion, no support network whatsoever, friends all gone, drowning in booze. I was just so desperate to find some kind to find that community again. And that night, I had finally found it. I had just started interacting a couple months before, maybe 45 days. I don't know. A couple months at the most. I just started interacting and felt comfortable, talking and getting in on chat. And when you were when you were going through what you went through, it was, and you were talking about walking away, because I knew for me, if I and I said that night, before I found it was probably a matter of weeks. Like, I probably would have given it a couple more weeks, and then if I didn't find anything, because I felt so alone, and depression was kicking my ass. And so, like, regular thoughts about how I was going to end my life, and, what I was going to do. So making plans, not quite at the edge, but I'm peeking at it. I see it. It's coming up. And so I can say literally finding Tang for me was a lifesaver, because it was a community that I felt safe in, and it was a community that I felt I could be myself in. And So for you, I can't thank you enough.
I feel like I need Jena right now to rescue me. Nah, bro. I'm glad that you had that space. I'm glad that, I'm so glad. I'm so grateful that you had that space, and I am humbled and grateful that I got to be a part of that. Because I know that shit sucks, bro. I know that shit sucks, and I know that shit's lonely. It's lonely. And until you've been there, you've not been there.
Yep.
And until you've been on the other side, and now you can try to be a difference and be an impact and be a change maker.
Yep.
It's even more difficult to understand it until you're there. And that, and again, like I said, Jenna will tell you, and others will tell you that was a high impact conversation and moment for me individually, because at that point, with all the fucking goddamn fucking YouTube shit, I'm also going. I'm within what months of losing my mom, and I literally I think I've shared this. I'm pretty sure, but just in that time span, I had 2 suicide attempts where I was like fuck this shit, man. Fuck this shit. Why should I keep doing this? Why should I keep going through this? Why should I keep feeling this same shit over and over and over? It's like I'm now doing what I tell my kids not to do, and that is don't touch the hot stove. If you keep going back and touching the hot stove, you're going to keep getting burnt.
Yep.
And I found myself doing that. But just like you, finding this accumulation, this little corner of YouTube and skepticism and atheism. I know for me, and my time talking to Thomas, Holy Kool-Aid, and Drew, those were, for me, those were the conversations that what you're talking about did that for me.
Yeah.
And what do you want to call it? Rescued or revived? Any type of hope? Any type of maybe there are people out here that really fucking care.
Yeah.
They did that same shit for me. So if you're where Aaron was at, or if you are, or find yourself where I was at, don't quit. Don't quit. I promise you. and I'll say this and ask a question, and I'll shut up because I'm gonna get my feels again. Don't quit. It's worth it to not quit, because you don't know what tomorrow brings, and you don't know who you're gonna meet tomorrow, and or the next day, that will help to create that pivotal moment. And my question for you, Aaron, and given this, and this is the intense part, this is the serious part. What would you say, or what would your advice be to someone that finds themselves in that fucked up spot where it's lonely and it sucks? Now continuing to walk that out and walk that through, and you're doing all the right things, even naturally, therapy and finding a support group and a quote unquote family that you can lean on. What's your advice to those folks?
Yes. It's funny you mentioned family. One of the things that hooked me, Jena was actually, it was one of the streams you and Jena were doing. And she said, if you're family, you're family. If your family, whose family, who you're talking about family, and what does it mean to be part of the community? And it was, if you act like family, you're family. And that hooked me. I mean, because that's exactly what I was looking for. And I've done had a lot of conversations with people in the deconstruction group, and it's the biggest issue that people face when deconstructing is a loss of community and feeling alone. And so I would suggest if you're at that place, you're at that so vulnerable and so lonely and right on the verge, do not give up. In addition to that, I would say reach out. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Oz, Jena. Reach out to somebody and let them know, because you are not alone. You're not alone.
God damn. You're not alone. And that, for those that were at better, but those that weren't, that was the premise of my presentation speech, whatever you want to call it. But we don't have to do this shit by ourselves. And when we walk away, sometimes it feels that way.
Yep.
I know. I remember when my quote unquote light bulb went off, and I was like, I don't believe in this anymore. I don't find a good reason to believe in this anymore. It was almost automatically the next thought in my brain was, now where am I at? No, nobody else does this. No, nobody else is challenging their entire family, their entire childhood, their entire worldview. Nobody does this. But then I found out there's a whole lot of really badass, fucking cool ass, genuine, authentic motherfuckers that have been exactly where I've been.
Yeah.
Or are exactly where I'm at right now. And that, like, if we think of a sailboat, like there was no wind, there was nothing. And when I started to discover that holy shit, man, there's a lot of people that have been, and even worse. It's some of them, as fucked up as my story is, there's people that make, and I'm not minimizing, and I'm not taking away anything from what I've been through or anybody else has been through. But there's people that have been through it makes my shit look like a goddamn walk in the park on a Sunday afternoon.
Yep.
And it's sunny out. It's like they make that shit look smooth, man. But the reason I say that is they don't know that we're here. And I want to do everything that I can and we can to make sure that we do normalize that conversation. Those folks do know that the ones like you, Aaron, that when they stumble upon it, it's like, holy shit. We're not doing philosophy here. We're not doing the grounds of intelligence, and we're not doing fucking jack me off with all your fucking bullshit, religious and philosophical. We're just being people, man. We're being people. Yeah. And sometimes it's serious, and other times we're fucking shooting the shit and having fun. But that's I'm saying that because that's what family does, right? That's like you said, if you're family, you act like fucking family.
Yeah.
All right, so I was gonna say something else, but I already know I'm gonna get right back in my feels, and I'm trying to stay even. I'm an interviewer. I'm supposed to stay even, but fuck the rules, right? But Aaron, found TANG, found us. We found him, and like I said, at the Better Conference in June. Like it was badass. The whole thing was badass, but it hit a little different for Aaron. And I know he still takes positives away from it, so I'm not discounting that, but that's not what I necessarily want to focus on. But well, kind of. I'll ask you a two-part question. So, Aaron, first of all, because publicly I've not been able to ask you this, like on the live stream or even in Discord or whatever, but kind of a side note or tangent, if you want to tangent, what just as far as content and the experience, what did Better mean to you? What did you take away from it? And then take as long or as short as you want on that, but then share as much as you want to with myself and those listening and watching. What the fuck happened to you personally, with you and your family while you were attending Better?
Yeah, so Better was, in addition to just a great conference, it was the first time for me that I'd been, anywhere on my own in about 8 years. Depression had been kicking my ass for so long. I was very insular and to myself, and so just that experience, and then add to that the sepsis that had really fucked up my mind, and so it was the first time that I'd really, and then COVID as well, is the first time I'd really gotten out and gotten to talk to people in person and for so long, and so just that camaraderie and being in a safe place was amazing to me. Holy Kool-Aid's speech I thought was incredible. It was, all the speakers were amazing. Cynthia McDonald killed it, but Holy Kool-Aid's speech probably was the most impactful to me. While I was, at Better, because I had not been out to my family. still, it's something that, was so, so anxiety driving to think about coming out to them because of how religious they are. All of them still are. My two sisters and my parents are still remarkably religious. And so it was, so I was closeted to them and to, I had worked in politics for a while, so I had a lot of contacts that were still in the church. And so I just wasn't really out publicly. And while I was at the conference, Neil the 604 Atheist, he snapped a picture, and that made its way back to my sister. And I'm still not even sure how, but it made its way back to my sister, that picture, because I didn't tell my family why I was going to Indiana. I didn't tell them. And so when they found out, they were shocked, calling me a liar, telling me how stupid and evil I was, how I was going to hell. And so, yeah, why was it better I got outed to my family as an atheist?
And, well, as I said when we were there, it was real time. That sucks, man. It sucks when you don't get to do it on your own terms. It just, there's no way around that. That fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But the one thing, and again, this is from my perspective, an outsider's view of watching you. And God damn it. I know what it meant to me, and having the support that I had when I came up, but I got to do it on my own terms, and you didn't, which I think defies even more odds. But the strength of the people that I knew I had behind me, because all of a sudden it was like I went from feeling like I had no one to like I felt like I had a whole goddamn army behind me, and that provided the confidence that I needed, that I wanted, and I guess enabled me to continue to talk and to be transparent and to be authentic. And the reason I share that is, and you correct me if I'm wrong, just watching from my perspective, you have not cowered, bro. You have not cowered. And not only have you not cowered, you took it head on. You took that shit head on, and again, I'm proud of you for that. And I'll ask a question, and then you share what you want to share after that. How much? I'm sorry. How important was it? How impactful was it for you to know that you had this group of people that were surrounding you and wanting to help you and love you and to push you forward? How important or pivotal was that in your ability to take it head on? And again, how would you encourage others to navigate that and to approach that, because it's never simple and it's never easy.
Yeah, it's probably always going to be messy especially if you're dealing with the same type of religious background and family dynamics that I was in. But for me, if it was, if I was going to be outed, it was so serendipitous that I was outed while I wasn't better, while I was literally surrounded by other people who either understood or had been there or just giving me that support. And I'll say for me that I had built that up coming out to my parents and my family so much in my mind. I had built it up into this, it was this monster. It was this insurmountable thing. And then having it forced upon me, it made me realize, well, I still woke up. I was still breathing. I wasn't physically hurt. So for me, and because I was away, there was that distance. And not everybody is in a safe place where they can have that. But for me, I was probably in the safest place possible. If I was going to be outed, that was probably the safest place it could ever happen for me. And so, if people are thinking about that, I would. The thing that I took away from that is I built that up in my head because I knew it was going to be bad. Okay, but it wasn't nearly as bad as I had built up in my head.
Right.
Because I knew everything they were going to say. Nothing was a surprise. Nothing was a surprise. And so I had built it to this thing, this monster, this insurmountable, occurrence that I just couldn't work up the nerve to do. And since it happened, I just realized how much of that being closeted was just irrational fear. It was just irrational fear for me. Now, I will say, some people, and like I said before, some people are not safe to come out.
Right.
And I'm not, I'm not talking about those people. Those people need to do whatever they need to do to stay safe. I encourage that. Be safe, number one. But if you're not in the position where your safety isn't, either your mental or physical safety isn't threatened, then I might encourage you to talk to somebody about your fears of coming out of the closet and letting people know who you actually are, because it is freeing to not have to hide and not have to just go along to get along. It is freeing to be able to be your authentic self in front of everybody, regardless of what they think.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Aaron's preaching right now, taking us to Atheist Church. It is, and I've shared this with several people. It's, and you just hit the nail on the head. We do. I think it's human nature. We make a monument out of it in our brain.
Yeah.
But once it happens, and whether it's the situation that, and it is, it's stupid, it's fucked up, it shouldn't have happened the way it did, but it did with you, or with my situation where I just came out and said it. I think probably the greatest human fear is the fear of the unknown. That is what we fear. It is what's going to happen.
Yep.
What will people think? What will people say? How will people feel about me? And the one, well, I say one thing, but it's like a 3-part line of questions that I've asked my family, and now former friends is, first of all, do you love me? Of course they say yes. Okay, you love me. Do you respect me? Most, I think, would say yes. If not, cool, whatever. But most importantly, do you want me to be happy? Do you want me to be happy? And if the answer is still yes, then, and I'm not saying that this is a simple or easy conversation to have, but it's a needed conversation. It's a necessary conversation. And even if we remove the respect question out, do you love me and do you want me to be happy? And the answer to those are yes. Okay, where I'm at, I'm happy. I'm happy. And I feel fulfilled in life, and I feel like I'm living the best life I can live. I feel like I'm being the most authentic version of myself that I know how to be. So if you love me and you want me to be happy, you are going to continue to love me and want me to be happy. And if not, that means there are preconditions to you loving me. There's caveats to you loving me and wanting me to be happy. So then I have to question whether or not this relationship is authentic. Because I can tell you, theist, family, friend, whatever, I do love you and I do want you to be happy, even though I don't agree with your bad idea, your bad belief, whatever. I'm not cutting you off. I'm not cutting you off. So that's where if we rewind back to the old the atheist roundtable days, Aaron, this is where we out Christian the Christians.
Yeah.
And we actually demonstrate and put into action what love looks like and how love behaves and how love treats people. And it's sad that we don't have this book of dogmatic rules and regulations. We don't have that, and we don't need that for me to love Aaron and for Aaron to love me, and so on and so forth. So my question to that is, how freeing is it for you now? How much freedom, how much liberation, and again, I know there's all the bullshit that still comes with it, the baggage that, and I know that I'm not minimizing that. I will always validate that. There's the baggage and bullshit, but for you, when you just sit and think about it, how does it feel now to know that, you know what, I'm me, motherfuckers, I'm me, and I'm a do me. And you can still love me and want me to be happy or not. How has that made you feel since that happened?
I probably can't describe how freeing it is, because in my family, being an atheist is probably the worst thing I could be. Like, I could kill somebody and they wouldn't think as badly of me as being an atheist. And so since being outed, there's nothing worse. And to realize, okay, you can accept this or not, but I haven't changed. The person that you know and you love, that person's still here. I just don't believe what you believe anymore. And so it's so freeing to be able to be myself and not have to put on a charade anymore. Because even, while closeted, people would say things, or family would say things that would just really piss me off, or just move in a direction that wasn't healthy, or wasn't, and I couldn't say anything. I couldn't respond. I had to, keep it zipped for fear of outing myself. And so I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to guard my words anymore. I can honestly tell people what I think, and not have to, sugarcoat it, or try to, code speak to hide my true beliefs or intentions. And so it's a lot less work to be out. It's a lot less work to have to, put on that charade. It's so freeing.
Amen, brother. Amen. And Andrew just put a comment here. I want to pull this up. An important point they need to get through their, and I'm going to rephrase her comment, through their thick fucking skulls, through their head, is that they don't get to decide what makes us happy. And yes, Andrew, yes, and over again, yes. Because well, Jen and I have talked about it live, so it's not like I'm throwing her out there, but we've talked about with her family, my family, other situations. Your idea of me being happy does not mean that I'm fucking happy.
Yeah.
Your concept of my being happy or being authentic does not mean that I feel happy, or that I feel or know that I'm being authentic. My happiness does not ever have to measure up to what you draw out to be defined as happy. And I know right now, whether the ups and downs come or whatever, I'm living the best life that I know how to live. And I'm trying to find all the ways and all the reasons to be happy and to be the most authentic version of Oz that I know how to be.
Yeah.
So if that doesn't matter to that family member or that friend, is how you define, if they don't care how you, Aaron, or myself, how we define our happiness, it's no longer about Aaron being happy. It's no longer about Oz or Jena or Aunt Jur or Nicholas and his $900 suit jackets. Like it's no longer, not no longer. It was never about me being happy.
Yep.
It was about you being happy and you not feeling you're going to be embarrassed or ashamed that your son or your daughter or brother or sister, whatever, came out and said, no, I don't believe what you believe anymore. Now, where does that leave us? You don't get to control my happy. You don't get to fuck with my happy anymore.
Yep.
You don't get to do that. So we're just over the hour and a half mark. So any of the mods or whatever, if you want to put the link to the Discord in there, I can jump in for about 30 minutes or so. And we'll do a Q&A with Aaron and I, because I think there's a lot of similarities there, and hopefully maybe some areas we can help some folks. Yep. But before I wrap it up, I just want to say and reiterate that. Well, I'll just put up here. What? David McDonald. What up, bro? Said Aaron, you are a badass, and I agree. But before we wrap this up and go to Discord again, Aaron, I just as far as support to the channel and even to Jena and I and what the private messages and the encouragements that you send and obviously to other creators too, which I fucking love and adore. You bring value there, and you are a part of the team because we all need people like you that are the voices of encouragement, the cheerleaders, the you got this, you keep doing it, keep going, like you're the gasoline to the fire, and we need that, and I appreciate that. And again, after what you shared with me in that night in Discord, and then watching you at Better navigate and sense better, I respect the fucking shit out of you, man, and I appreciate you and your tenacity and you wanting to push through and you wanting to be the best you, and I think it's fucking awesome, dude. I think it's fucking awesome. So I'll end this with one last question. As soon as you're done, I'll wrap it up. But just from a more of a 30,000 foot view, if there's someone tonight that sees this, or maybe in a week or 2 weeks from now they see this, and that initial crack in the wall of faith has started, and they're starting to ask the questions, and they're becoming curious. What say you? What's your advice? Where would you direct them? How would you help them?
The best advice I could give would be to not be afraid of where the questions that you're asking may lead. Because I think for me, for a long time, I didn't even allow myself to ask the questions that I needed to ask to believe what I believed. And so I would encourage anyone who's starting to have those doubts to go research, go listen to the experts, go read those books that you're curious about, and find those answers, and don't be afraid of what those answers might lead you to.
Boom. And the last thing I want to Sarah shared, and I'm glad I wrote this note down. Did it earlier because I'm ADHD and I would have forgot had I not written it down. Aaron, hey Ron, is when you're going through especially the deconstruction part, then comes the deconversion, where it's those lonely nights, those lonely days come. I want to say this because I am guilty as charged in this, and Jena, Dr. Josh, even Jessica, Heathen Queen lately has been, and Kathy, even Ashley, like there's been so many people just reminding me to talk.
Yeah.
And talk, connect with the people that you know, that you trust, but also remember that none of us are mind readers. We're not psychic. We're not Yahweh. We're not Allah. We don't know the beginning. We're not Alpha and Omega. We don't know the beginning from the end. And sometimes we do have to be uncomfortable. Be comfortable with the uncomfortable and reach out. And like Nick said, yeah, easier said than done. Abso-fucking-lutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. It is. It is. It's always, isn't that life? It's always easier said than done. But what I know is, whether it's therapy with a professional, just talking to friends, when you hear yourself start to say the things out loud that you're thinking, you get a better understanding. Is this rational or is this irrational?
Yep.
Is this logical or is this all emotion? And that's what's beneficial. That's what's beneficial, and that's what hits home. But we're getting ready to go to the Discord. But I always like to end What's Your Stories with a high note, and have a little fun. So if everybody got their drinks ready, let's do it one more time before we bounce. No, see, God damn it, it did that fucking last time. Hey, Ron. There we go.
There we go.
Put my mind on my money and my money on my mind.
All right, everybody, we will be going to the Discord. Like I said, I got about 30 minutes I can hang out. We'll do a brief little Aaron, Ron, and myself, and then y'all are welcome to hang out as long as you want. But before we go, Aaron, thank you, man.
Thank you, man. This has been good.
It's been real good. It's been no, I do. I appreciate you, man. I love you. I respect you, and keep doing the damn thing, bro. Keep doing the damn.
Man.
And for everybody in the chat, thank you for hanging out with us, and we'll see you in the Discords.
Yeah. This is for all you non-philosophizing black sheep, unwelcome, push to the side motherfuckers like me.
Fuck what they say. TANG gang. Atheist Your Way. Yeah. Fuck what they say. TANG gang. Atheist Your Way. Let's get down to business. These bitches got glitches. And you thought you'd dismiss us? Nah. Now I'm laughing in stitches. See, the problem be, it'll be a tragic travesty to come after me. So just know this is how we get down. Respect that shit like a pronoun, bitch. Yeah, fuck what they say. TANG gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah, and fuck what they say. TANG gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah, fuck what they say. TANG gang, Atheist Your Way. Yeah, fuck what they say. TANG gang, Atheist Your Way.